you might have not recognized the pattern, but let me help you see it very clearly. Hey guys, I'm Ruben Gomez with the Seasonal Movement, and in this video I want to cover how to get rid of anxiety and loneliness by understanding the cyclicality of our social demands throughout the year. Alright, if you're watching this, chances are that you recognize that you might feel anxious or lonely at times. Anxiety is a big issue that leads you towards all sorts of cognitive dysfunctions and is a result of our neurochemistry and how certain events that are usually very highly related to social demands and personal ambitions relate and affect your well-being. For that, I want you to understand the problem, which is that they come at different times of the year. You might have not recognized the pattern, but let me help you see it very clearly. Picture yourself in the fall. Picture yourself after Halloween. At that time of the year, there is a transitioning happening all over around us in the environment, but more importantly, in our social dynamics. Halloween tends to bring some events, which again, anytime that we are going to be changing social environments, it has a dramatic effect in our subconscious, depending on how you're wired and precisely depending on your previous experiences. That neurochemistry is going to shoot positively or negatively, meaning you're going to shoot more cortisol, stress levels, or you might shoot more oxytocin, excitement. It truly depends on your personal experiences from the past on that specific time of the year and how those events used to bring you memories of things that happened during that time of the year. So during the Halloween transition, now we're entering into a very socially diverse time of the year. We're entering into the holiday season, which for people in America, it includes Thanksgiving and also, of course, Christmas. Every single event is one of five. Let me explain. Thanksgiving for me usually comes with the relatively stressful portion, which is selecting which house are we going to be spending with my wife's family or my family. Usually it's both, but during which day. Then there's usually a work-related event, a church-related event, a friends-related event, and the same thing happens in Christmas. This is a very short time of the year, November, December, that brings a lot of social anxiety. What I want you to do is to recognize that there is a cyclicality and there is a pattern that is related to the cycle of the year. It shows up every single year at the same time. Maybe it's not at the exact same hour or day, but it's in the same week. And it's not just that time of the year. There's other times of the year where society picks up, social interaction picks up. And again, depending on you, you might have some coping mechanisms. It might be alcohol, it might be drugs, it might be eating, it might be not just what you do in the moment, it might be what you do before, during, and after. So one event has different phases, and when you accumulate a lot of them at the same time, it creates a neurochemistry that might be out of balance. So what I want you to understand is that the exact same thing happens on the other side. Loneliness, when social dynamics drastically drop, which for many of us is during January, February, March. That's a time of the year that we tend to isolate, and it's actually wired in our subconscious. That's what our ancestors used to do 1,000 years ago. A lot of what we do, we don't recognize it, but it's wiring us and it's a survival mechanism. My point being is that when you start seeing these patterns, you can start allowing yourself to prepare for them. And you start creating certain routines around that time of the year that will allow you to balance your neurochemicals. Nurturing relationships is one of the 6 main pillars in our seasons framework. From a neurological perspective, nurturing relationships is top 6, if not less, but it's definitely in the top 6 of the biggest impact in our health, in our cognitive function, in how our subconscious is affected. Social environments are a drastic way of understanding the way you feel. My point with this is that you want to nurture relationships with people that you love and also with yourself. That's why during our neuroseasonal programming method, we touch on this and we allow you to recognize what is going to be that pattern like for the next season. We do that during our seasonal transitions and we look into, am I going to have a peak social demanding season or am I going to be on my own? We bring that into a weekly seasonal routine so that you can specify the day and the time of the week that you can consistently commit to either nurturing loving relationships or to nurturing a loving relationship with yourself, which for many introverts during that peak time of the year of social interaction means to have time alone. But the inverse happens when we look at January, February, March. For many of us, we can identify a gap and we can feel that season and that specific behavior that we're seeking to be at optimal peak performance from a cognitive and from a brain and a body perspective, because the neurochemicals in your brain are going to affect the way that you feel physically as well. And we can be very selective and very direct to how we want to approach that, so we can start creating appointments weekly with people that we love. It might be a date night that's all of a sudden is very important and shows up in the winter time, but it might just go away completely in the summer because there is a lot going on, there is a lot of activities, there is a lot of social interaction, and you don't need to be that specific during that time of the year. So there is a pattern, and I want to give it to you. I can only touch the surface in this video. That's why I have created my free school community. We have a link down below that will guide you towards our free community, where I can walk you through our framework of how to align yourself and create a specific seasonal routine that will benefit you from every single area of your life. It will touch on the most important behaviors and it will give you tips. We also have a lot of content there that goes into more detail about every single behavior that we're talking about. So again, just understand that there's peaks and valleys when it comes with feeling anxious, when it comes with maybe feeling depressed, feeling lonely, everything that loneliness brings to it. And there is a pattern to it. And I want to give you the key so you can predict it, so you can plan for it. And if you hear this advice and it doesn't touch on how to actually do it throughout the year, chances are that you're going to make the mistake that many of us make, and I used to make, which is that I will create that one specific routine, but you are going to commit, but you are not going to be able to stick with it, because there is peaks and valleys. There is times during the year that you need to prioritize yourself. There's times when you need to prioritize being with others so that you can improve the chemistry in your brain and so that you can be a healthy individual immediately and in the long term. By immediately, I mean that that's going to improve your well-being. That's going to improve your connection with yourself and others. That's going to remove that anxiety and that loneliness. And long term, because that's the best way to age in a way that your chemistry is in balance and you are developing as a human being in every single area of your life. So again, thank you so much for watching. Please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.